chronic disease mortality, medications or lifestyle? Number 1454, December 1, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category, Chronic Diseases. Preface, I have self-studied internal medicine, focusing on endocrinology and its related mortality diseases, including cardiovascular disease, CVD, chronic kidney disease, CKD, stroke, neuropathy, dementia, and certain common cancers with a special attention on lifestyle-induced metabolic stress conditions for 16 years since 2010. I am not a medical doctor or a licensed clinician. I have no patients. I have not practiced medicine. I conduct medical research independently, and I use my own body as my long-term research laboratory. Thus far, I have spent over 80,000 hours reading more than 10,000 published medical papers, indexed in global biomedical literature, collected and self-computed over 4 million personal health data points, and written 1,453 single-authored medical research papers during past 16 years. These conclusions were not taught to me by medical doctors or medical school professors. Within 18 years, I studied in 6 universities, 8 disciplines, and earned 7 degrees, including MIT. My early mentors were top experts in engineering and AI, not medicine, but their systems training in stress-strain, interaction energy thinking guided my later understanding of internal organ damage and chronic disease recovery. Self-studied and researched medical subjects. One example is my stroke study. In my personal case analysis, I identified that my stroke event on June 21, 2025, was linked to long-term internal system deformation of vessels and organs, mainly from my earlier period of uncontrolled metabolic illness, dominated by obesity and type 2 diabetes over 4 decades. Using the principle of variable isolation, I computed my recent stroke injury energy share as roughly from 10-to-1 ratio between my earlier 20 years, from 1990 to 2009, compared to my recent 16 years, from 2010 to 2025, for stroke risk. The acute rupture itself was triggered by a sudden SBP surge of 175 mm of mercury on June 21, 2025, acting on pre-damaged cerebral microvessel calcification. The from 10-to-1 ratio came from my own VMT, viscoplastic energy study, not speculation. I have confidence in this from 10-to-1 comparison. Result, because it was calculated using the laws of physics, and based on fundamental principles of stress and strain in biological systems. However, these ratios represent my individual case analysis, and should not be extrapolated to general populations without clinical validation. Cancer and metabolic disorders, a more accurate description. Now on cancers. Cancer is not one single uniform disease. It is a large family of diseases. Some are strongly driven by metabolic overload, some are driven by viral infections, and some arise mainly from environmental or inherited genetic mutations. Metabolic disorders like obesity, chronic high glucose, insulin resistance, dyslipidemia, or organs oxygen and nutrients perfusion overload, contribute significantly to a subset of major cancers such as liver cancer via long-term perfusion overload, fatty liver progression, insulin resistance, and chronic glucose stress. Pancreatic cancer correlated with diabetes, obesity, and metabolic damage. Colorectal, endometrial, breast, and some gastric cancers heavily influenced by obesity and glucose lipid stress. Many medical studies show that obesity and diabetes together act as strong risk accelerators for these cancers, sometimes reaching from 30 to 50% contribution shares for certain metabolic-linked cancer types, but not all cancers. Separately, a few cancers are directly caused by viruses, such as cervical cancer from human papillomavirus, HPV, and liver cancer mainly linked to hepatitis B virus, HBV, or hepatitis C virus, HCV, where treatments can target the virus, DNA or RNA more selectively than they can for cancers, driven by internal metabolic stress or human cell mutations. Although I once described around 2/3 of cancers as metabolic related, a more accurate summary of current biology is this: a large portion of high mortality cancers are driven or accelerated by metabolic stress, while viral-induced cancers form a smaller but clearly identifiable pathogen DNA or RNA targetable group. Some cancers are caused by viruses, because these viruses carry DNA or RNA that is different from human DNA. Medical treatments can target the virus more selectively than they can for metabolic-related cellular damage. This includes viral-induced cancers such as liver cancer, linked to, and cervical or oral cancers linked to. The key distinction is that metabolic-related cancers arise from internal system overload and cumulative stress damage to human cells, while viral-induced cancers originate from identifiable non-human pathogen, DNA or RNA mechanisms acting on human cells. In lifespan stage accumulation patterns, cancers accumulate deeper cellular stress damage more evenly than stroke. My personal VMT study showed that my 20 earlier years, from 1990 to 2009, accounted for about 55%. And my recent 16 years, from 2010 to 2025, accounted for about 45%, forming a 1.2,1.0 viscoplastic energy share ratio. These ratios were computed from my own VMT energy model. I trust these numbers with confidence for my own case, not as a global percent claim for the total world population. I am not saying these same ratios apply to everyone. These results show a real biological difference between organ structural injury, which can be partially repaired over time, and deeper cellular mutation damage, which is largely irreversible, even when the triggers are identifiable. Pathogens such as liver cancer linked to or cervical and oral cancers linked to medications versus biology reality. Modern drugs from major pharmaceutical organizations like Pfizer or antivirals from Gilead Sciences cure infections because pathogens have DNA or RNA that is not human DNA. This difference allows medicine to destroy pathogens without destroying the human host. But chronic diseases are internal system deformation diseases, not pathogen DNA invasion diseases. Most cardiovascular and metabolic medications do more than biomarker surface reduction. They slow complications, protect organs, and reduce mortality risks, but they cannot regenerate complex organs safely or repair mutated human cells cleanly. I strongly believe this because, biologically, medications still cannot target or repair damaged human DNA or regenerate organs without harming the rest of the system. They help reduce risk, but do not magically rebuild kidneys, heart, brain microvessels, or pancreas beta cells. To tune down my previous tone slightly, I restate it this way: medications adjust external test readings, slow harm expression, and reduce incidence. But lifestyle repair remains essential to restore deeper perfusion networks and organ system durability. Lifestyle versus prescriptions, my two-life experiment. My 20-year medication-only period, from 1990 to 2009, tested symptom suppression, infection cure, logic, and biomarker control through medications without system repair through lifestyle improvements. My most recent 16 years, from 2010 to 2025, were lifestyle repair dominant internal medicine reversal experiments, with no medications, including vitamins, and no chemical treatments at all. Lifestyle inputs achieved what prescriptions could not: better organ perfusion, ceilings, stronger vascular tolerance, lower internal energy debt stress, and upward bent sleep endurance reserves that confirm system repair progress. Hospitals and lifespan ranking reality check. Medically advanced healthcare networks, such as Mayo Clinic, Harvard Medical School affiliated hospitals, and Stanford Healthcare help reduce acute events and complications. However, long-term recovery still depends mostly on patient-driven lifestyle, which remains the dominant force behind real structural repair and lasting health progress. I am not aware of any magic longevity pills or drugs that can globally regenerate organs or extend lifespan like lifestyle discipline can. At least, I have not heard of such magic pill that regenerates everything being proven. Lifespan varies slightly across nations, but the most important ordering, such as expected lifespan, is confirmed: Japan, around 85, South Korea, around 84, UK, around 81, Taiwan, around 80, lead the chart, and U.S. lifespan ranking, around 78, remains the lowest among advanced nations. Even though U.S. technology excels in advanced medical interventions, population health outcomes lag behind East Asian peers in UK, because long-term metabolic stress activates earlier. Vessel and organ deformation, and lifestyle discipline is indeed weaker at the population level. The lifespan data is generally accurate, but consider that these differences involve many other factors beyond lifestyle alone, such as healthcare access, social safety nets, and economic inequality, etc. Let us state this truth clearly: Americans, including myself, have struggled with one of the least healthy lifestyle patterns among medically advanced nations. That is the real ranking of organ stress strain damage accumulation. United States leads in medical technology and technical specifications, but East Asian regions and UK lead in real biological health outcomes, driven by lifestyle discipline. Acknowledging America unhealthy fact. I do not want to hide the fact, US is a medically advanced nation, but chronic metabolic and organ stress diseases are widespread at the population level. I was unhealthy 20 years ago. Even now, especially after my stroke event in June 2025, I carefully monitor my daily fasting hours, emotional stress levels, sleep duration, walking steps, glucose, lipids, and particularly my blood pressures. For long-term organ workload stress, I also track mean arterial pressure, MAP, as a sustained pressure load affecting vital organs, while systolic blood pressure, SBP, spikes in pulse pressure, PP, remain indicators of my vessel rupture stress. I remain confident to state what I saw clearly: medicine cures infections and virus-induced diseases cleanly when the target is foreign DNA, RNA pathogens. For human system and internal organs diseases, recovery is slower, internal, nonlinear, dynamic, and lifestyle driven. I do not criticize medications in a harsh tone here. They are scientifically necessary for infections and certain incident reduction. But for extending lifespan, rebuilding organ tissue or mutated cells, lifestyle discipline is the core perfusion engine of true healing. I am not ashamed of saying it, United States has some of the best hospitals, but lifestyle health discipline has been weaker than many other advanced nations. From National Health Survey data, about 77% of Americans are overweight, and even 44% of male doctors in medicine are overweight. I myself was an unhealthy American. That is the truth. Lifespan is a biological outcome, not a technology competition win. Let us look at the data honestly and face the reality. Lasting health improvement requires action, honesty, and long-term lifestyle changes, not cover stories. Final system-based conclusion. Medications cure infections, suppress invaders, and reduce incidence. Chronic disease recovery repairs internal organs slowly by lifestyle-based stress reduction. There are no proven global longevity drugs that rebuild brain, heart, kidney or pancreas tissues cleanly. Lifestyle repair remains the core engine of self-healing. At this point, I hope my message is clearer, while the biology truth remains intact. Chronic diseases require internal system stress relief, perfusion, improvement, and slow, non-linear but continuous energy recovery via lifestyle improvements, not pathogen extermination. Please remember that chemicals fight invaders, lifestyle repairs the structure. In other words, lifestyle repair is the foundation, while medications is the supportive tools when needed. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is for educational reference only and not medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this article freely, but it must not be altered or republished as your own. All rights belong to the author, Gerald C.